2020, the year in which I turned 30 and officially say goodbye to my 20s and become an old man. This is what I wish I could do differently if I could redo my 20s. This video is going to be divided into two parts. First, we're going to talk about what I wish I did differently in my 20s, and then the end of the video, we're going to talk about a few things that I think I did right in my 20s. So first up, not embracing my own weird. Now, going all the way back even to like elementary school, I've always been kind of structured and organized and neat and tidy, but it was something that I had some like shame around. Reason being, you gotta be cool, man. You gotta be like nonchalant and not try too hard. And if you try too hard in school, then it's not cool. So I kind of held this with me for so long. It wasn't until end of college to early medical school when I really embraced it and said, this is just who I am. And there's pros and cons that come with it, but I definitely shouldn't be judging myself based on what I think is cool or really worrying about what other people thought of that. Now, I listened to the Tim Ferriss podcast. In fact, I've listened to almost every single episode, starting with one. Chronologically, I'm at 373, and I think it's like 400 right now. So on 371, it was Tim Ferriss and Ramit Sethi, and they were talking about like the weird structured things that they do, and I felt so understood. They're talking about like putting in their calendar these certain types of meetings or conversations with their significant other that are kind of difficult and that a lot of guys don't normally want to do. Or they'll put in like calling my mom every Sunday so that they don't forget to do it. Because if it's not on your calendar, I mean, for people like me and probably for them too, then it's much less likely to actually get done. And this is a kind of weird, quirky trait. Most people are not like this. But with any real personality trait, it's two sides of a single coin. There's pros and cons, strengths and weaknesses. And this level of structure and organization has definitely made me a lot more successful in various pursuits, especially when it comes to academics and professional. But then there are some downsides too, when maybe I should be letting go a little bit more. For example, with vacation, 2017 went to Hawaii, was way too structured, and then I ended up being burned out from a vacation, which was supposed to rejuvenate me. So then I came back and had this rule that, okay, moving forward, I'm just not gonna plan my vacation in that way. I'm gonna be more spontaneous, I'm gonna exercise that. So it's a matter of trying to maximize the upside that I'm getting from this way of being and then minimizing and mitigating the downside. Number two, traveling solo. Traveling by yourself, especially in your early 20s when you're really discovering who you are, is such an amazing place to just become more comfortable in your own skin and really get outside of your comfort zone and learn both your strengths and your weaknesses in a very explicit, in-your-face kind of manner. Now, while I had done a lot of domestic trips solo, especially when I was interviewing for medical school and then for residency, it wasn't until last year that I went to Shanghai. I was there for a week by myself and didn't speak the language. Because they have the Great Firewall, you can't really look up Google Translate, or Uber, or social media like Instagram, Facebook. It was definitely challenging and probably not the first place I would recommend that you go travel solo if you are an English speaker or you don't speak Mandarin. But at the end of the day, that challenge got me outside of my comfort zone. I met some really cool people, had an amazing time. It was actually the highlight of my 6-week Asia trip. Last year, I also did New York City and London for 4 weeks. And a big part of that was because I wanted to go see the F1 British Grand Prix, and none of my friends really wanted to. They're like, what's F1? So I went out there by myself. I obviously speak English, and there wasn't any language or huge culture shock by going to those two cities, but it was still a massive and awesome learning and growing experience. Now, I don't think that traveling solo is necessary to get a lot of the deep insights, but it's definitely a catalyst. It accelerates the whole process of self-discovery and becoming more confident in your own skin and things like that. And at this point, you may be saying, well, Kevin, that sounds nice, but I can't afford it. To which I would say, yes, you can. And that brings us to point number 3, which is getting a handle on financial basics. So this is 2 parts, really. The first part is churning, credit card churning, which has saved me tens of thousands of dollars over the last 7 to 8 years that I've been doing this hobby. Essentially, you maximize credit card rewards so that you can get free flights and free hotel stays. And I haven't paid for a flight in so many years, I can't even remember. I'm actually creating a series. There is a credit card churning playlist I'm starting that's gonna help you introduce you to the hobby and then give you the steps on how to do it successfully so that you too can get a lot of the upside while, again, minimizing the downside. Now, the other part of financial basics, it is a problem that in the US, our education system doesn't really teach people personal finance basics. My mom was super frugal, and I learned the importance of saving money and not spending money you don't have and paying credit card statements in full and all the basics, which is really important. But what I'm specifically referring to here is understanding retirement accounts and investing. When I was in college, I had a research position doing inflammatory bowel disease research in a lab, and I actually got paid $15 an hour. Talk about killing two birds with one stone, because you generally need research to be a competitive medical school applicant. And I was getting paid to do it, and that helped me pay off my tuition and such. And I was able to save up a couple $1,000s, and I wish that I opened up a Roth IRA and started investing in index funds early on, because compound interest. And it's actually less about the exact dollar amount, just a matter of building the habit of investing regularly. Now, I've read probably close to a dozen finance books, and I'm gonna save you a lot of headache, a lot of time by just telling you invest in broad index funds, at least early on. Now that I've been doing this for several years, my investing strategy is a little bit more complicated. I have some tax efficiency and other things. When you're just starting out, keep it simple. Just start with a broad index fund and just dump money into that. And if you want to see some of those investing books and finance books that I recommend, I'm going to have links to all of those down in the description. Number 4, not listening to my body. Definitely have an issue with sometimes being too headstrong, especially when I was younger. Not listening to my body when, playing sports or exercising. It has resulted in injury. There were times when I was in college when I was like so fed up with inflammatory bowel disease because it wasn't as well managed as it is now. I would just be like, fuck it, I'm over this. And then I would just live my life. I'd be like in denial almost. And I would live my life for a couple days as if I didn't have it. And then I would pay the price and be like, okay, wait, hold up. I gotta change things. So listening to your body is key. I wish I started doing more mindfulness practice and more meditation and more stretching sooner. Now the strange thing is my body actually feels better now at the end of my 20s, 29, compared to 10 years ago. And that's because I'm actually spending more time and energy and focus on having better posture, on using a standing desk, on stretching every day, on exercising regularly, on all these different things that make me feel better now and more capable physically than I was back then. Now, the other thing was I would deprioritize sleep when I was younger. I still am, but especially back in college was very high energy and didn't need much sleep. But if I'm being honest with myself, it was mostly a matter of not being willing to tighten up my schedule and be truly efficient back in college. I was like, oh, you know what? I want to go have fun and do whatever. I was more willing to just compromise on my sleep and be less efficient during my waking hours, which wasn't a healthy thing to do. And number 5 is reading more books. So I probably read around 40 to 50 books in the last couple of years. I know there are some people that read like 100 a year. That's mostly skimming and speed reading, which is fine. Different strokes for different folks. I actually prefer reading the whole book because there's a much stronger emotional hold when you do that. When you speed read or skim through these books, it's almost like you're summarizing a book or reading a summary, I should say. And in those instances, I feel like the key points, while you understand them, you don't really internalize them in the same way. And that's why I don't necessarily use other like book summary services. And there's some out there that you could actually purchase a subscription to, but I just don't find the value. I think reading the whole book provides much more value. Okay, regardless, don't worry too much about the number of books you're reading. Just focus on the habit of reading a book regularly. And from reading, I've learned so much in the last couple of years about self-development, about habit formation, about interpersonal relationships, about business, about anything and everything. And the only thing I wish is that I started doing it sooner. So this all changed and happened when I got one of these, a Kindle Paperwhite. And shout out to Dr. Randy McKnight, who is the orthopedic surgeon from A Day in the Life Orthopedic Surgeon. I think it's the top viewed video on this channel right now. Make sure you get the Paperwhite, and that's the one with the backlight. Seriously, one of the best purchases I've made in the last several years. All right, now let's switch gears up a little bit and talk about some things I did right or things that I'm glad I did. So number 1 is gonna be confronting my fears. I was so afraid of public speaking. In high school and college, I would do everything to avoid it. Back in college, I would actually take solace in the fact that doctors didn't need to do public speaking, or at least I thought so. That's how much I disliked public speaking. And when I got to med school, I was like, you know what? This is ridiculous. I'm gonna get over this. And I deliberately worked on it. Now it's like, all right, giving a speech to Janet Napolitano, or being a keynote speaker at a conference, or Toastmasters, or whatever, not a big deal. In fact, it's kind of fun. And the crazy thing is, if you told me that 10 years ago, I would not have believed you. And just a matter of confronting your fears, realizing that fears are kind of irrational, and then overcoming them. It's such a great feeling. Number 2, dating. Now, putting yourself out there is key. And I'm glad that I put myself out there, and at the beginning, things are gonna be kind of sloppy and messy, and you're gonna make mistakes and embarrass yourself, and that's totally fine. It's part of the process. Now, a lot of people start to over-intellectualize the whole process, and there's this popular book called The Game by Neil Strauss that came out, several years ago. It talks about this underground pickup artist community, and I think that focusing your energy, especially in your early to mid-20s, on the outcome or like the primary aim of dating and being more attractive to the opposite sex or the same sex is not necessarily the best way to go about it. I think instead, if you focus on yourself and building yourself up to be a better person, and that means exercising regularly, and that includes improving your communication skills, and that includes being more successful academically and in a professional setting too, then the attraction results as a secondary effect. It's not really a primary focus. This way you're gonna learn to be more confident naturally and grow to love yourself rather than this whole like fake until you make it, which I actually don't think is the best way of doing things. Number 3 is cultivating foundational habits. So as Einstein once said, compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it, and he who doesn't pays it. Now this is most obvious in investing and finances because we have a number and we can see that number grow. But even when it comes to foundational habits such as productivity and efficiency and morality and being open and being willing to be wrong, these things can all have a very positive trajectory on your long-term life outcome because they build off of one another. And number 4, taking risks and betting on myself. Ballsiest thing I've ever done, quitting plastic surgery residency. And I don't think I've really conveyed on this channel how hard I worked to get into plastics. It was next level. I don't think that me even telling you right now how hard I worked conveys how hard I worked. And that's a big reason why it was so hard for me to leave. I mean, number 1, I loved plastic surgery. I think it is the coolest specialty in medicine. But number 2, sunk cost fallacy, right? You work so hard to get here, and then you're gonna leave it? Like, are you sure about that? And, you know, sitting down and really doing the analysis and thinking through the whole process, and I've outlined that in a previous video, it made it clear that yes, I was doing the right thing, but it was still really scary. Quitting a highly competitive, highly lucrative, highly prestigious career path for entrepreneurship, hey, you don't know what's gonna happen, is not an easy thing to do, right? But now, close to 2 years later, I have never for 1 second regretted my decision. And I'm fortunate, things really turned out amazing, but even if they didn't, even if I wasn't successful with my businesses, I was confident that I would be able to figure something out and get back up. And at the end of the day, life is short. So don't waste it, don't play small. Really do what you wanna do in life because you only got one life to live. And then you look back when you're 50, 60, 70 years old and you think, damn, why didn't I have the cojones to do what I really wanted to do? So anyways, be bold, live life on your own terms. Speaking of which, I need to go to the airport because I am going to Tokyo. If you guys are gonna be in the area, wanna film a day in the life with me, reach out, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Thank you all so much for watching, much love to you all, and I will see you guys in that next one.